आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रम् अथ बलम् इन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदम् माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्तु अनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. I pray to the Divine Lord that all aspects of my personality, body, mind, sense organs, prana shakti and strength, may they all increase and function in perfect harmony very efficiently. This whole physical universe, visible through the sense organs, is nothing other than the ultimate reality called Brahman in the Upanishads. May I accept this truth, may I not reject this truth. May there be no rejection of this truth. As I am engaged to realize this truth in this life, may all the virtues described in the Upanishads come to me and reside in me. All the virtues such as truthfulness, strength, purity, straightforwardness, may they all come to me and reside in me. Om peace. May there be peace and joy in our hearts. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings. And may there be peace everywhere in nature. We were studying shloka number 22 last time. In these 2 or 3 previous shlokas, beginning from 19, 20, and 21, Bhagavan Shri Krishna is instructing Arjuna that action is inevitable and it has to be performed with detachment. Sangam Tyaktva. As we saw before, karma is inevitable. Nobody can stop performing action even for a short period of time. It's physiological, psychological imperative. Since karma has to be done by everybody, Sri Krishna describes 2 ways of doing karma. If you perform karma one way, it will show us the way to freedom. If you perform the same karma in a different way, it will bind us more in ignorance, perpetuates our ignorance. So we have to choose which way we want to perform karma. So the best way to perform karma, as Bhagavan has been saying, is to do it without attachment. One thing, asakta sangam tyaktva. Second thing is to remain equanimous in success and failure. These 2 things are very important. These 2 things are mentioned in one shloka in this previous chapter, 2nd chapter, verse 48. Very important shloka. There, Sri Krishna has given the gist of all the instructions. That's all we need to follow. All this is explanation. In the second chapter, verse 48, Sri Krishna said, Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Two things have to be kept in mind when we perform actions. One is sangam tyaktva, giving up attachment to work and its results, karma and karma phala. I am doing this work not for just my own benefit and pleasure. May good happen to everybody and everything. Taking away the I and mine as much as possible from karma and karma phala. One thing, sangam tyaktva, also called asakta, free from attachment. Second requirement is siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva. Siddhi means success. Asiddhi means failure. Remaining equanimous, even-minded in success and failure, because we cannot predict whether we succeed or not. Karma phala is totally unpredictable and uncontrollable. That we have seen, it will come again. We do the work, but the result is not entirely in our control. Other factors besides our work come into play and alter the equation. They contribute to success or failure. And those other factors we don't know, we can't control, many of them. So what is the best way to do the work? In the best way possible, with love and gratitude, and then leave it. Whatever result comes, good or bad, success, failure, accept it calmly. Because we are not responsible for success, failure. We are responsible for doing our work properly. That is our responsibility. So that is the way to perform work. Then if you do work in that way, then you are not bound by the results, then that mind will become free, chitta shuddhi, purity of mind will come, and then that will pave the way for liberation, freedom, salvation, mukti. That is what he has been saying, Doctor. So, shloka number 22. Sri Krishna himself gives as an example himself, one who does work without unrelentingly, without stopping, not for his own sake. He does not have to gain anything by doing something. Bhagavan himself is the Lord. He does not lose anything by not doing anything. But still he is constantly active. Why? For the good of others, for the benefit of this world. Loka sangraha. Loka sangraha means for the good of the world, other beings, animals, plants, nature, other people. Keeping their well-being in mind, we have to perform our work. If everybody benefits, I will also be benefited because I am included in everybody. I don't have to specifically work for my own self. By working for others, I will also be benefited because I am included in everybody that benefits from my work. So in Shloka 22, he said, Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nanavaptam avaptavyam varte evacha karmani. Trishu lokeshu, in all these three worlds, there is nothing that I have to do. There is no obligation, compulsion for him to work. Trishu lokeshu kinchana kartavyam nasti. Kartavya means the obligatory duty, something that has to be done, kartavya. Yet, manavaptam avaptavyam. Avaptam means something that is acquired, to be acquired. Aptavyam means something that is to be acquired. Nanavaptam, that is not been acquired. There is nothing that is to be acquired that has not been acquired for the Lord. For ordinary people, there are things that I don't have this. If I do some work, I'll get this one. Something to be acquired by doing some work. That is for ordinary people. But for the Lord, there is nothing that is absent, missing from his life. that has to be acquired by doing something. Still, karmani varte eva, I am always engaged in work. Why does he have to work? Not for himself, not to gain something, but for the benefit of the whole creation. He sets an example. And then he says in sloka number 23, if I don't perform work, then other people also will emulate me. He's not doing why we should work. So the responsibility for elders and teachers and people in general is twofold. One, to help other people. Second, to serve as a role model, example for other people. If the Swami does not do Japan meditation, then other people also, if Swami is himself not doing, or we should think we do that, they may think like that. We should set a good example, all of us, grown-up people, we have to set a good example. If not for myself, at least to set an example to other people who may look up to me, I have to do my work properly. That's what Sri Krishna is saying in the sloka number 23. Yadi shaham navarteyam jatu karmanyatandritaha mama vartmana vartante manushya partha sarvashaha. Yadi, if aham navarteyam, if I don't act, if I don't perform my duty at any time, jatu means at any time. Karmani atandritaha, tandra means sleep. Atandrita means tirelessly, without taking a break. Constantly God is working, round the clock. Even when you are resting, He is working. In our own body, He is active. As we saw, again we will see, in every living body, God is working 24 hours a day. What does He do? He enables all the actions to happen in our body. Because of His presence, breathing happens in our body. Because of God's presence. Because of His presence, we can eat and digest the food. Because of His presence in the body, blood circulation happens. All the functions are happening around the clock. Specifically, food digestion is mentioned in chapter 15, verse number 14. And that has come before. There Sri Krishna says, how is He active in our bodies? He says in 15:14, aham vaishvanaro bhutva praninam dehamashritaha pranapana samayuktaha pachamyannam chaturvidham. Aham vaishvanaro bhutva. God is saying, I, He, in the form of Vaishvanara, digestive power in all the living beings, and plants also, animals also. Praninam dehamashritaha, I have taken up residence in the bodies of all the living beings. Prani means living being. What does He do there? Prana apana samayukta, in association with prana apana, the 5 functions of the vayu. Chaturvidham annam pachami, 4 kinds of food I digest. All the different kinds of food. Something that we eat and chew, something that we drink, something that we sip. Like that, different kinds of food we take. All of that He is digesting around the clock. So He is active all the time. So He says, karmani atandritaha, yadi navartayam, if I don't work ceaselessly, yadi, if I don't work, navartayam, if I don't engage in work, atandrita, ceaselessly, what other people will do? Manushyaha, other people, mama vartma anuvartante. Vartma means path. They follow my path. Anuvartante means they follow my example. God is Himself not working. He is responsible for the maintenance of the whole universe. He Himself is keeping quiet. Why we should bother? That may be the thinking of some people. Some people may think like that, not everybody. So that should be allowed to happen. So He says, Manusha, Sarvasha, everywhere. Mama Vartma, Anuvartante. They follow my path. If I don't do, they will also don't do. If the teacher does not study, the students also will not study. I cannot say you do all these things and I will simply keep quiet. That won't work. We have to, each one of us is applies to each one of us. We have to do our work properly so that others who may look up to us, they also get the right idea. They will not be misguided by your inaction. So that is what Bhagavan is saying in verse number 23. And he, in verse number 24 explains what will happen if it does not work. The whole world will suffer if God becomes inactive for a moment. If the sun does not shine, and if the fire does not burn, or the water does not flow, rain does not happen, what happens to being? There cannot be no beings. It's all God's power. God is working through whole of nature. Whole nature is functioning because of God's power. He is functioning as nature. So that is explained in the verse number 24. Utsideyurime loka nakuryam karma chedaham sankarasya kartasyam upahanyami ma praja. If I don't work, the worlds will perish. I may cause confusion and may ruin these living beings. If Bhagavan, the Lord, does not work, then nothing in nature functions and all the beings will perish. Ime loka, these worlds, utsideyuhu, they will perish. Yadi aham na kuryam karma. If I don't do my work, all these worlds, all the beings will perish. They can't even live. They cannot subsist, exist without my working constantly to maintain this whole world. Sankarasya kartasyam. Sankara means confusion in the minds of people. I may be causing confusion in the minds of people if I don't work ceaselessly. Upahanyam ima praja. By my inaction, all these beings, praja means not only people, animals, and plants, also will perish. Upahanyam. I will be causing their destruction if I don't work properly. So the Lord himself is so constantly active. So what is the message in it for us? We have to be active, performing all our duties properly, diligently, without attachment, and doing the best, and remaining calm in success and failure. Those two things have come before. That is the message. So what we should learn from this is, we all should diligently perform our duties all the time, whatever is required to be done. Then you go to sloka number 25. If a wise person, somebody to whom people will look up for guidance, if such a person does not work, then other people also will follow the bad example. In order to help the world, Loka Sangram, you see the word Loka Sangram, so Loka Sangram at the end of this second line of 25. By to perform Loka Sangram means helping the whole world, guiding them, helping them for the benefit of other beings, animals and plants and nature. We have to work, if not for ourselves. Saktaha karmani avidvamsaha. Avidvamsa means an ignorant person. Vidya means knowledge. Vidyavan or Vidwan means one who has knowledge. Avidwan means one who does not have knowledge, ignorant people. Avidvamsaha, ignorant people. Yatha karmani saktaha kurvanti. Sakta means being attached to karma. Asakta means non-attachment. Saktaha karmani kurvanti. Karmani means in work, they become attached. Sakta means attached to work. Who? Avidvamsa, ignorant people. That's how they work. Ignorant people, they do the work with attachment to work and result of work. I am doing this work, this is my work, and I must get the benefit. That is the attitude of avidvamsa. Avidvamsa means ignorant people. They don't know the truth. That is what ignorant people do, working with attachment, expecting result of work to benefit them, bring some benefit should come to them. Otherwise, they will, if there's nothing in it for me, why should I bother to work? They will ask. If some work has to be done, then first thing they will ask is, what is in it for me? What benefit will I get if I do this? If no benefit, why should I bother? Like this, some people will argue. They are called avidvamsa, those who don't have knowledge, ignorant people. But to guide them properly, give them proper idea, what should a vidwan do? Kuryad vidwan tatha asaktaha loka sangraham chikirshu. Chikirsha means desire to do some work. Chikirsha means desire to do some work. Chikirshu means one who has desire to work. To do what? Loka sangraham chikirshu. One who has desire to do loka sangraha. Loka sangraha means service for the good of the world. World means other people, animals, plants, nature also. Chikirshu loka sangraha means those people who have desire to help the world. Vidwan means a knowledgeable person. Kuryat. Asaktaha kuryat. Asakta is hidden there. Kuryan vidwan tata asaktaha. Ignorant people do saktaha, first word in the first line. Asakta means attached, with attachment. Those who have attachment to karma phala. Asaktaha means a person who has no attachment to karma phala. That is vidwan. Avidwan has attachment. Saktaha avidvamsaha. And ignorant people attached to work karma phala. Asaktaha vidwan. A knowledgeable person who has no attachment to karma phala. Such a person also works. Why? Loka sangraham chikirshuhu. Desires of helping the world. Chikirsha means desire to work. Chikirshu means a person who has desire to work. Loka to do loka sangraha, help other people. So a vidwan, a knowledgeable person, works not mainly for oneself, but for loka sangraha, for helping other people, set an example to other people, help the world, help the animals and plants and nature. In a larger context, they do the work, not just for myself, no, but for everybody. If everybody is benefited from my work, then I will also be benefited automatically. Just like cooking in a family. If there are 4 people in a family, if one person cooks for oneself, disregarding other 3 people, that is extremely limited. Avidvamsa, such a person, avidvamsa, does not know the truth. I and myself, I must fulfill my hunger, I will eat, I will cook for myself and I will eat. What is such a person called? Stena. Stena means, that came in the earlier verse. Those who prepare food for themselves, they are called thieves. So that is one attitude, avidvamsa attitude. But in the same family, there is another person. He is a vidwan. When he cooks for all the 4 people plus some extra in case somebody comes. The unexpected visitor, guest comes, or to share that food with the animals and plants, a little bit extra is made. So that is the difference in attitude. Vidwan, avidwan. Vidwan, saktaha, attached to karma phala, me, myself. Avidwan, loka sangram chikirshuhu. No, sorry, vidwan, loka sangram chikirshuhu. Vidwan is a knowledgeable person, desirous of helping the world. For everybody, for as many people as possible, I will do something that benefits, not just myself. So that is the difference in attitude. We have to cultivate that attitude. To when you do some work, not just for me, and myself, but other people, animals also, plants also benefit. We can't serve everybody in the world, it's impossible physically, but in our own circle, as many as possible. As many as possible, just not myself, at least a few people in the same family, in the same vicinity, same workplace also. If I just do my work alone and leave the office at 5 o'clock or before, then I am being selfish. If somebody else, is next person is working so hard, he has to so much work, we should ask, is there some way I can do? Can I help you? That attitude is very cultivated. Many people don't do that. They just do their work and leave. If next person is toiling, struggling to finish the work, there's a deadline, this person does not bother. My work is done, I'm going home. But a better person will ask that person, is there something I can do? Is there some way I can help you? I see you are overloaded with work. Like that should be the attitude. That is the right attitude towards work. Not me myself. That is explained in the verse number 24. Difference in the attitude between a vidwan and avidwan. Then you go to sloka number 26. Continuation. A vidwan, by performing his own work properly, should also set an example, guide other people to do their work properly. Properly means without attachment. People have two responsibilities. One, to do their own work. We are responsible for our work, but we are also responsible to guide other people who may be looking up to us, to help other people if they need help. That second responsibility is also very important. That is explained in verse number 26. Na buddhi bedam janayet ajnanam karma sanginam joshayet sarva karmani vidwan yuktas samacharan. The integrated man, you may say yogi, who does work with the proper attitude of wisdom, man of wisdom, should not confuse the minds of ignorant people attached to karma. Performing all their work properly, such person should encourage other people also to work properly. So, responsibility of a vidwan, buddhi vedam ajnanam, ajna means ignorant person. Jnana means knowledge, ajna means one who does not have knowledge. Ajnanam karma sanginam. Karma sangi means one who is attached to karma. Sangha means attachment. Many people are attached to karma and karma phala. They are ignorant people, ajna. Ajnanam karma sanginam buddhi bhedam na janayet. Buddhi bheda means confusion in their mind. They are already confused. The word buddhi bhedam, what term buddhi bhedam is described here by Shankara in this way. Buddhi bhedaha maya idam kartavyam bhoktavyam cha asya karmanaha phalam iti nishchaya rupayaha buddheha bhedam chalanam. If a person thinks idam kartavyam maya bhoktavyam, this work I do, I will enjoy the fruit of this work. If people think like that, they are called ajnas. They have buddhi bheda, they have confusion in their minds about work. Work is not for one's own enjoyment. Work is for serving and purifying the mind by doing it in an unselfish way. And as we saw, unselfishness is God, Swamiji said. So how do we approach God? How do we become one with God? By becoming totally unselfish. More unselfish we become, nearer to God we approach. So how do we become unselfish? We're doing all work, not for myself, but other people. Selfish person, just me and myself. Unselfish person, everybody and everything. Big difference. So, buddhi vedam na janayet, ajnanam karma sanginam, in the minds of people who are ignorant people who are attached to karma. A wise person, Vidwan comes in the second line. A wise person should not cause confusion in their minds. What such a person should do? Yuktaha karmani samacharan joshayet sarva karmani. Yukta samacharan, by performing one's own action without selfishness, without attachment, a wise person should encourage other people to work in the same way. Normally, other people, ignorant people, are working with attachment to karma phala, with selfishness. So a wise person should correct that attitude by himself performing the work in an unselfish way. Showing the example is better than preaching. If I say you should do this, and if I don't do it myself, that won't work. Without saying anything, if I do my work properly, that is the best way to teach, by example. So Vidwan should perform his own work without attachment to help the other people, world, other beings, and thereby show by example how others should work. That is their responsibility. Vidwan has to do that. That is explained in this verse number 26. Sarva karmani joshayet. One has to make other people work, encourage them other people to work. How? Asaktaha, free from attachment. How it should be done? Yukta samacharan. Oneself must do the work with full engagement, fully involved in it, with love and detachment, with gratitude. These are the proper attitudes. So that is the responsibility of the Vidwan. This sloka number 26 is advice to Vidwan, how Vidwan should perform the work. Now comes a very interesting verse 27, one of the very important verses. It tells us what is the worst attitude towards work. In this sloka 27, Sri Krishna uses some strong language to criticize people who are attached to their work. I am the doer. This is my work, and this is not my work. I don't want to do that one. And since this is my work, I do it, and I must get the benefit from it. That is the worst attitude towards work, and that is put down in strong terms in verse number 27. So 27. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimudhatma kartahamiti manyate. Several times this line has come before. Ahankara vimudhatma kartahamiti manyate. That is the worst attitude we can take towards work. How does work happen? First line. Prakritehe gunaihi. By the gunas of Prakriti. Karmani sarvasha kriyamanani. All actions are happening by the gunas of Prakriti. Now, what are the gunas of Prakriti? Prakriti is the nature. Here, Prakriti has one meaning, nature. And in a later shloka, Prakriti comes, shloka number 33, I think, where it has a very different meaning. So here the meaning is nature. All work happens in nature. Prakritehe gunaihe karmani sarvasha kriyamanani. Prakriti, gunas of Prakriti means nature, our bodies and minds are all made parts of nature. The physical body, Annamaya Kosha, the mind, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, all those things, the sense organs, everything is a part of nature. And the objects of action, supposing I'm holding a book, this book is also part of nature. This sense organs, body, they are part of nature, one part of nature. The objects with which I perform work, that is also part of nature. So if I am drinking water, so two things are involved in it. Many sense organs are involved in it. Mind is involved first. Actions start in mind. Mind says, I want to drink water. My mouth is dry. Mind's function is to remind us. Then hand will grab the cup of water, sense organ, and then you will take to the mouth and sip, and water is taken in. Sense organ, many sense organs are involved. Sense objects are involved, one or more. That's how action happens. All of these are parts of nature. Body, mind, and sense organs are a part of nature, made of matter, with matter is nature. This body is made of physical matter. Mind is also made of fine physical matter. Sukshma tanmatras. And all parts of nature. And this is also part of nature, all sense objects. So actions happen only among the different parts of nature. One part of nature interacting with other parts of nature. That's how action happens. Atman is not involved in any of these things. Water is not Atman, it's an object. Hands and mouth and mind are all parts of nature, not the Atman. Atman is separate from the body and the mind. That is knowledge. So a person who has knowledge, he does not say, I'm doing the work. A person who does not have this knowledge, identifies himself or herself with the body, mind, such a person says, I am doing the action. So prakritehe gunaihi, by the gunas of prakriti. Guna means different parts of prakriti. Sense organs, sense objects, body, mind, etc. All parts of nature. Prakritehe gunaihi, by the parts of nature. Karmani sarvasha kriyamanani, all actions are happening. There is no I in any of these things. I is the Atman. Atman is separate from this body, mind, and sense objects. An ignorant person does not know that he thinks he is the body and the mind. So such a person says, I am doing the work. That will come in the 5th chapter. Who is doing the doer of work? But now let us note this much, that all actions happen by the interaction of several parts of nature among themselves, sense organs and subject, mind, body. But a foolish person does not foolish. Immoved Atma means a foolish person. Ahankara immoved Atma, an egotistic person. Ahankara means think I am the body is Ahankara. If a person thinks I am the body mind, then he has Ahankara, ego. I am this body mind. That is ignorance, that is ego. If such a person who is egotistic person, Ahankara immoved Atma, does not know the truth, what does such a person think? Aham karta iti manyate. I am the doer, like this he says. So people often, notice people claiming that they are doing everything. Some people say, I have done all these things, I am responsible for running this department, I am the head of this department, I have done all this. Nobody has done as much work as I have done. Like this, some people claim. All of that is total ignorance. A Jnani never says, I am the doer. Did you ever notice Sri Ramakrishna or Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi is saying, I am doing this, I am teaching? They never say the word I. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi has to refer to himself as this Sir Bhagavan in the third person. Sri Ramakrishna never said I. He said Ihankar. Ihankar means, Ikankar means this place, this being. At best he would say, Sri Ramakrishna would say, those who come here will have their doubts removed. That much only he was saying. He would never say, I will clear the doubts of people. He could have said, I am clearing the doubts of people, I answer all the questions. He never said that one. He said, those who come here, they have their doubts removed. That's all he would say. To that extent, only he would conceive. He would never say, I. Nikankar, he would say. Those who come here, not those who come to me. I and me, mine, they never say. Jnanis never say. Ordinary people claim everything. I am the doer, I have done this one, I am the doer. They always keep on saying I. So that's big difference. So that is the sloka number 27 explains the worst possible attitude towards work. We should never say like that, think like that. In our minds also, we should not think. If we think I'm the doer, it comes out in speech. If some idea is in the mind, it will not stay, it will come out in speech. No matter how careful we are, in ungodly moments, we blurt out what was in our mind. So we should not harbor such thoughts that I am the doer. Other ways of saying the same thing are available. We have seen them before. On the exactly diametrically opposite way of this is, I am not the doer. Jnani, that will come in chapter 5, verses 8 and 9. Jnani never says, I am the doer. What does he say? Jnani said, Naiva kinchit karomi, I am not the doer at all. But are they not doing? They are doing a lot of work, very active for Loka Sangraha, for helping other people, if not for themselves. But never say, I am the doer. I am helping people, they'll never say. Swami Vivekananda in the Karma Yoga lecture, he wrote one topic, so one chapter. We help ourselves, not the world. When you do some work, philanthropy or some small work for others, we should not say I'm helping that people. I'm helping that person. We should never think like that. By doing something for others, I am benefiting more than that person. I think that other person is benefiting from my help. No, that's not the truth. By helping somebody else, I am benefiting more than that other person. I'm becoming more unselfish. I'm moving closer towards God by helping other people. So Swamiji says, if you stand on a pedestal and give 5 cents to a poor man, hey, poor man, here I'm giving you 5 cents, this will make you better. The wrong attitude. Swamiji says, be thankful to that poor person who is there to receive your 5 cents, giving you an opportunity to do some unselfish work. Thereby you become unselfish. You approach God. So we should be thankful to the person who gives us a chance to serve that other person, not expect other person to be thankful to us. That's the proper attitude to work. So this is the worst attitude, 327. So there are several other ways in which you can practice unselfishness. Right away, we cannot become Jnanis and say, I'm not the doer, because I have body consciousness. I have the distinct notion of being the doer, agency, kartritva I have. I can't give it up so easily. Let it be there. Let the I be there. But modify that by saying, I am doing it as a servant of God. Are you still there? But I become less important by placing myself as a servant of God. Ishwaraya Britya iva sarvani karmani karomi, Shankara says. Britya means a servant. For the sake of the Lord, not that he wants. For me to become unselfish, as a servant, as a Britya, sarvani karmani karomi, I'm doing all my work as a servant of God, like Hanuman. Like Alatu Maharaj, like Swami Ramakrishna, I want serve Sri Ramakrishna, but he served Sri Ramakrishna. Thereby, what happened? They became illumined. Sri Ramakrishna was helped, but much more than that, they were helped by serving Sri Ramakrishna with devotion, without expecting any benefit from Sri Ramakrishna. Out of love, out of devotion, by doing that, what happened? Those people became illumined. Their selfishness went away. They became one with God. That is the benefit of doing work properly. Otherwise, we'll become Ahankara Imohatma. That will take us in the opposite direction. We don't want to go there. We want to go towards God, not in the opposite direction. So this is one attitude. Other attitudes are, I am the instrument, God is the doer. Sri Ramakrishna used to say that, Amijantro Temijantri. I am the instrument, you are the operator. I am the machine, you are the operator. She meant Divine Mother. She does everything through me, choosing me as the instrument. Sri Krishna says that also in chapter 11, verse 33. Arjuna was thinking that I am going to kill all these people. How can I kill Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Duryodhana, everybody? I am the killer. Shri Krishna says, no, sir. You are not the doer. He says to Arjuna in sloka 33, sloka number, chapter number 11. Shri Krishna says to Arjuna, you think you are the doer? Forget it. You are not the doer. Who is the doer? I am the doer. Bhagwan is the doer. That's what Sri Ramakrishna said. Sakali tumari ichha, tumar karmo tumi korama loke bole koriyami. O Divine Mother, you do your work. People think they are the doers. So that instruction Sri Krishna gives to Arjuna. You are not the doer, I am the doer. You just go through the motions as an instrument in my hand. Nimitta matram bhava. Be the instrument in my hand. Just go through the motions. If Arjuna does not do, Sri Krishna can get 20 other people to get his work done. So we're all instruments, we are not the doers. Supposing I don't do the Gita class, somebody else better than me, more qualified, will do it. Then 100 people are available to the Gita class. They're actually doing, another people are doing. So think that I am the doer, if I don't do this, work will not happen, is a sign of ignorance. So we are not, we are only instruments. He has chosen us as the instrument. That's a great gift in itself. Thank you for, oh Lord, for making me the instrument in your hands. I will do the best I can. I'll try to be the best instrument that I can be. That's how we should think. Not I am the doer. He's the doer. Lord is the doer. That's another attitude. I is still there. Some part is there for the I as an instrument. Totally it has not gone away. Or I can modify I in a different way. I am doing this work as an offering to God. That will come in the 30th verse here. Every work I do should be done as an offering to God. He says in many places, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya. When you do some work, offer it to me. He says, why does he need our work? God is not, he does not need our work. Still, he asks us to offer it to him. Why? Not to fulfill his need. We don't need anything. But by offering, we become unselfish, free from attachment. That's what he is encouraging us to do. When a child gives a small gift, a cookie or a coffee mug for a Mother's Day to the mother, mother does not need a cookie or the coffee mug. Actually, she has to buy it and give it to the child. And child has to give it. We are like children. God wants everything. He has to give us something and we'll offer it back to him as an expression of love. What does he need? When you do puja, we offer naivedyam. We offer fruits and flowers, almond, sugar candy, chocolate, bananas, coconut, everything we offer. Does he need all these things? All these things belong to him. We also belong to him. But what's the meaning of offering something to God in naivedyam? Not to fulfill his need, but to express our love. Giving means expressing the love. That way, in that spirit of expressing our love, we should offer all our work to God. That makes us unselfish, takes us closer to God. The expression of love, devotion. So that is another way to perform work without being much attached to it. Yet another way to perform work is there. That is explained in verse number 46 in chapter 18. There Sri Krishna says, 1846, there Sri Krishna says, whenever you perform any action, do it as worship of God. Every action, including eating, talking, walking, sleeping, eating, everything has been as worship. Everything is worship of God. Every breath we take is worship of God. Every step we take is worship of God. That attitude has to be cultivated. There it says, Sakarmana tamabhyarcha Siddhim Vindati Ma Namaha, 18th chapter, sloka number 46, second line. Sakarmana Tamabhyarcha. Tam means him, God. Abhyarcha, worshipping. How? Sakarmana, doing our work as worship. Ritualistic worship, everything can be done, but any work we do should be done as worship. Then we're always worshipping, since we're always worshipping God, we're always doing some action, we're always worshipping God. If you do every work as worship. So by doing all work as worship, our whole life will be an unbroken stream of worship. That's the best attitude towards work. Nothing need change. Work need not change. Simply thinking it is worship of God, mentally only. So these are all different ways of becoming free from attachment to karma, karma phala. All these things will come later in later chapters. So the worst way is 327. Ahankara vimodatma karta ahamiti manyate. We should never think I'm the doer. I'm the doer, but as a servant. I'm doer as a devotee. I'm doer as worship. Like that we can keep the I. But in the highest level, when total jnana comes, I'm not the doer at all. That's a little bit too high a goal for us. That is the highest one. Not the I is not there at all. Work is happening in nature. I am not there in any part of this work. I'm not involved at all. So ignorant persons put the I. Let the I be there for some time, then modify that, refine it by saying I'm a servant. I'm doing it as offering. I'm doing it as worship. I'm only an instrument. Like this, we can keep the I and become free from attachment to karma, karma phala. Those are available avenues for us to work properly. Okay. Then we go to sloka number 28. A vidwan thinks the opposite way. A foolish person says, I am the doer. Ahankara vimodatma karta ahamiti manyate. A wise person says, I'm not the doer, action is happening among the parts of nature. So sloka number 28. Tattvittu mahabaho gunakarma vibhagayoh gunaguneshu vartante iti matva na sajjate. Tattvit means, tattva means the truth. That means that Brahman. Tattva means thatness or absolute truth, which is Brahman. With means who knows Brahman, Brahmajnani, Atmajnani. Such a person knows the truth, Tattvavittu Jnani. O Mahabaho Arjuna, Gunakarma Vibhagayoho Tattva. One knows the distinction between guna and karma. Guna karma means constituents of Prakriti and their operations. Guna means parts of Prakriti, as you saw in the previous verse. Prakriti gunahi kriyamanani. Parts of Prakriti means all the sense objects and the sense organs, body, everything. So all parts. Guna karma. Karma means action, interaction among themselves. Vibhagayoho tattvavid knows the truth about the guna and karma of Prakriti, parts of nature and the interaction, which is karma. A person knows this truth. What does such a person do? Guna guneshu vartante iti matva nasajjate. Nasajjate means does not become attached to karma, karma phala. A jnani does not become attached to karma, karma phala by distinguishing parts of nature and karma, their interaction, and thinking guna guneshu vartante iti matva. Guna means one part of Prakriti, sense objects. Other guna means sense organs, other part of Prakriti. They interact. Guna guneshu vartante. Some parts of Prakriti interact with some parts, other parts of Prakriti. That is action. Knowing this iti matva, jnani nasajjate, tattvavit nasajjate. Jnani does not become attached to karma, karma phala. He knows action is happening in nature. I am not involved at all. I am the Atman. That is Jnani's position. Exactly opposite to 327. Ajnani says, I am the doer. Jnani says, action is happening in nature where I am not there at all. I am the Atman. Nishkriya, Atman, no action, pure consciousness. So difference between attitude towards work. So we go to, it's almost time. We do 29, 30th is a key sloka. Very important sloka in chapter 330 that we'll do next time. We finish 29. Prakriter gunasammoda sajjante gunakarmasu tana krishna vido mantan Krishnavinna vichalayet. Those who are deluded by Prakriti's constituents cling to the works of these constituents. The knower of the whole truth, the knower of the whole, ought not to destabilize the dull and partial knowers. See, ignorant people, first line of 29, they say, Prakrite guna sammuda. Those who are unaware of the parts of nature, Prakrite guna, different parts of nature, sense organs, sense objects. Guna karmasu sajjante, they become attached to these gunas of Prakriti, guna karma of Prakriti. They think I am the doer. They think the body, mind, sense organs are the I, and I am the doer. This is ignorant people. That's how they think. Tan mandan, those, manda means a dull person. Tan mandan, Krishnavit, one who knows, Krishna means everything. Krishnavit means one who knows everything. Navichalayet, Krishnavit, person who knows everything. Tan Krishnavit, Tan Akrishnavido mandan navichalayet, should not destabilize the dull and partial knowers of truth. What happens here is, the jnani is there. He knows he is not the doer, he is not the body mind. Action is happening through nature, sense organ, sense object. That's jnani's position. But if he says that to an ordinary person, I'm not the doer, then the ordinary person becomes confused. I'm the doer, how is it says I'm not the doer? So that confusion should not be created. So the jnani should say to the person, you maybe can be doer, but do it as an offering until you become free from ignorance that you are the body mind. Until then, do all work as offering, do all work as worship, do all work as an instrument, do all work as puja. Like this, proper guidance should be given step by step. All of a sudden, if you say to, if a jnani says to a jnani, you are not the doer, then the jnani gets wrong. If I'm not doer, then why should I bother? I'm going to do anything, I'm not the doer. That confusion will happen. So that kind of confusion, jnani should not create in the minds of ajnanis. This is the instruction to jnanis. So we have a few minutes. Next time we do sloka number 30, very important words, 5 instructions given there. Sloka number 35 things important point on how to perform. That we study next time. Now we shall, if there are some questions or comments, you can ask or share your thoughts with other people. If you have any questions, send me email. I'll be happy to answer if I know the answer. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, may all be happy, may all be free from diseases, may all know what is true and auspicious, may no one be subject to misery, suffering. Om, peace, may there be peace in our hearts, may there be harmony amongst all the beings, and may there be peace everywhere in nature. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Sri Ramakrishnaarpanamastu. Before I stop, I want to say one thing. I've forgotten. 2 weeks ago, many of you were watching Pravrajika's these lectures on Atma Bodha. I also was watching. Many of you were watching there. Last lecture, when she finished sloka number 68, how did she conclude her lecture? Remember? After finishing her last lecture, she said, I offer these lectures on defeat of the Holy Mother. This is what she said. She said, I offer these lectures on defeat of the Holy Mother. This is how she concluded her last lecture. That is what we have to do. She gave the same lecture, but in her mind, she was thinking this all offering to the Holy Mother. That's what we have to do. Mentally only Chetasa Sarva Karmani Mayi Samyasya. Physically, how can we offer anything to Holy Mother? Mentally. Mental detachment is important. So she said like that, I offer these lectures at the feet of the Holy Mother. That's how she concluded the lecture. So let us keep that instruction in mind. Let us follow her example. She's a wise person. We have to follow her example. Prabhavajika Divyananda Prana. So like that, we'll conclude. Okay. Thank you.